less through collaboration. Would I be mistaken, and why?
Have you been listening to us?
It's an honest
It's a very good question. First of all, I'm quite relieved and happy that the three of us ended up pretty much saying the same thing, right? We did not coordinate, but with our own word, we seem to agree on what's developing. What you're saying, Frederick, was absolutely true, is still true, but it's changing. It's change management. It's change management at an industry level. So it's massive, it's global. Let's not forget that in our industry there are millions of forwarders. It's a fragmented industry. We see that trend, that collaborative trend, very strongly from the global players. We see it a bit less from the local forwarders for obvious reasons. It's more complicated to do it at the scale of one station or one country. However, it is still in there, and it's driven by the need from shippers for transparency and for instant information. You can only achieve that if you basically have developed some tools, platforms, processes, workflows, ways of communication that were not needed 5 or 10 years ago, or not as much. What used to be a nice to have has become a must.
Thank you very much. Tom, please.
Yes, I agree. We need more collaboration in the future. We are simply not talking enough between shippers, forwarders and airlines. In order to cover the future in regards to the flows, the capacity, and also the quality, like I was talking about earlier, there has to be a closer collaboration. And we have to discuss also in regards to the future when it comes to digitalization. Everyone is talking about that. I'm not sure I even know how big it's going to be in the future, but I've seen the digitalized forwarder, I've seen the digitalized airline. I think we all have to be looking at that in the future. And also looking upon the e-commerce. I mean, when I buy something out in the big world, in one of the big companies, I get all the information I need. Just like that, it's coming on that date, even on the time. And I would also like to see that in the future for my orders of salmon.
I'm going to be a little bit stuck on you before we go over to Ranjit. You mentioned that collaboration is something that we would need a bit more around the industry. What is exactly, in your view, what is preventing this at the moment? Because I see a lot of talk going on, but at the same time, what's preventing this? Tom, how do you think?
There's too many parties involved. Simply, I mean, we have the forwarders, we have the airlines, and we have the shippers, and we have to agree on what level we are going to talk. I mean, I have stupid discussions with the forwarders like, who owns the allotments? Is it the shipper or is it the forwarders? And we have to solve matters like that in order to have a better collaboration in the future.
Okay, this is a good point to go over to Ranjit. I'm really looking forward to hearing your comments to this one. Thanks very much, Tom, for building a big, nice bridge. Ranjit, please.
I'm not going to harp on too much, but you know, for us, I think customers purchasing is going to be very, very different in the future as to where it's come from and where it is today. Customers are looking for portability, to be able to move business around at the flick of a switch. They have their incumbent suppliers that they build deep and broad relationships with across their enterprise, operating with various aspects of their supply chain. And then they have the developing suppliers with whom they're prepared to invest And that may mean that they make a financial investment in the development of collaborative tools and technologies to pay a premium so that provider, developing supplier can build a relationship and understand their business. So I think as the future evolves, and then you have these tender platforms and technological applications, we talked about Uber earlier, I think it's going to be a very different market in the future. In so much that Kuehne+Nagel are looking at technological solutions that allow our customer to connect with us without having to deal with a salesperson. Not that we don't value salespeople, the fact is the customer behavior is changing, their values, their attitudes, and of course the social responsibility. So people aren't sitting in the office from 6 in the morning till 9 at night looking at RFP templates. People are balancing their time between internal, external, social responsibility. So again, the dynamics are changing. I think it's going to be very, very different. And that's where the strategic, long-term approach comes in beneficial versus tactical.
Thanks very much, Ranjit. Now, you mentioned dynamics, so now you're really raising up my curiosity. Given the other industries, more traditional industries that we see have gone through a massive and complete revolution. We see companies like already Guillaume mentioned as Uber, we see Netflix, Airbnb, non-asset organizations really be on top of their world. Now, Ranjit, I'm going to ask this for you first to answer. Now, do you foresee some sort of similar revolution also to coming our global supply chain in regards to Aircargo? And if so, what is in your view the most likely to happen?
Okay, so I think a couple of years ago we saw it where there was code-share agreements not only on passenger but on cargo. So I think the future may be that there's a mainline operator similar to the ocean industry that then sells is able to allocate space to external third parties, be it other airlines or forwarders, and it's like a hop-on, hop-off service. That could be a potential in the future as you know, our customers' dynamics change, and nearshoring, inshoring means that based on exchange rates, costs of manpower, facilities, government incentives, organizations move their production of plants around the world to optimize, be closer to their customers, and obviously maximize yield.
Thank you very much. Now, Guillaume, you happened to touch upon Uber. Now, this is an interesting topic, and I was watching actually Bloomberg the other day, and their CEO, Uber CEO, Dara Khosrowshahi, mentioned in his interview that automotive will change during the next years. He sees 3 significant trends, which is autonomous vehicles. He also sees electric vehicles and also sharing as a few of these 3 trends. He also indicated in the interview that children that are born today are less likely to be requiring a driver's license when they are eligible for that according to their age. Now, given the trends that we see in the automotive, looking at the near future of Aircargo supply chain, what do we have in store? What's your view?
I need a drink.
You can have some water.
Okay, that is a very interesting
On top
one.
level.
My personal opinion, Airbnb, Uber, Expedia.com are asset-free companies, business
right.
models, right? To a certain extent, we already have that in our industry. Freight forwarders.
That's right.
How do you digitalize that service of transporting 1 kilo of cargo from Bangkok to Frankfurt? If it's a passenger, it's quite easy. Your unit is it's one pax, right? For cargo, you've got your commodity issues, the requirements, you've got your paperwork, you've got your size, volume, chargeable, dense, not dense. All that is possible, and it does exist today. If you go to the website of Kuehne+Nagel, you can book 100 kilos from Bangkok to Frankfurt, but you're going to end up paying, I don't even know how much, but a price that is not competitive. Because to modelize an offer that is competitive is where the challenge is. And that's where, as far as I know, nobody has been able to do it. One forwarder that is currently making the news everywhere is Flexport, trying to act as a disruptive actor in the market. At the end of the day, I guess they do a good job. I don't know, it's not for me to judge, but their challenge is still the same. So their IT added value is again on transparency and instant communication.
If we continue on that, if we think about Uber and all these other non-asset companies like you correctly mentioned, what they've really transformed is to take upon a great user experience, because practically that's what they tremendously have done. Do you see some sort of developments taking part in our very fragmented value chain as well?
The answer is definitely yes.
Would you care to elaborate on that?
But again, I'm back to the points that the three of us brought up, which are making the experience as easy as possible through information, live information, accurate information, and pushed information. When today Tom has to call his freight forwarder to get a status update, the world of tomorrow is that if he wants his salmon order 123, not airway bill number, salmon order, speaking his language, our industry will be able to tell him exactly where it is. It's happening today. The most advanced freight forwarders are able to do that. It's not yet an industry standard. The last issue that I see there is that airlines are regulated by IATA, and IATA has started a lot of work along that line on communication and transparency, but because that governmental body sits up there, it's somehow, if it's not moving fast enough, it somehow may represent a delay for individual carriers that would like to go faster than the trend.
Thanks very much, Kim. Now, Tom, you've been very direct in your comments earlier here today, not exactly satisfied with the total procurement of what we